I'm Mario, and I'm presenting the embryonic stage of the industry life cycle. The industry life cycle is essentially just like a roller coaster. In the embryonic stage, we see new companies entering the industry. Barriers to entry are really low because, once again, this is a brand new industry. Not a lot of companies are in it. A lot of companies are entering the industry at this time. It's really like a slow growth period, and there's no real economies to scale at this point. Low intense rivalry also happens in the embryonic stage. Also in the embryonic stage, our products aren't perfect because we're going through like a trial and error period, and our consumers know that. They're okay with imperfect products. They know we're a new company. They know we're just entering the industry, so it's okay to have some flaws. In this embryonic stage, we are trying to access specialized distribution channels. So we're trying to build supplier relations. We're trying to market ourselves. Different ways that companies do this is through podcasts, is through radio shows, basically cheap advertisement, just prior to getting your product out there and letting your customers intertwine with each other and tell each other about the product and how good it is. So that's pretty much what happens in the embryonic stage.
So in the growth phase, we see a lot of new customers that are finally starting to get attracted to this market, entering the market, and they're all looking for the best product out there. So when that happens, we see in the growth phase that companies spend the most amount of money both making their product and building it, and also brand awareness. And that's really important in this phase because they're trying to attract those customers to their product, and they're trying to show those customers how their product sticks out from one another. Alright, so when I talk about sticking out from one another, I mean differentiation. And differentiation plays a key factor in the growth phase. This is when the companies are really trying to establish what's different from their products, and this is when we see them list online about their products and like what's different. For example, Apple and Samsung. Apple talks a lot about how the new phones have 3 or 2 cameras compared to Samsung, where their one Galaxy phone, their camera flips, the screen flips. So we hear about those key components and we see how they differentiate because they're in the same industry, the cell phone industry, but they both make different things about the phones that make them different, that can stick out to customers who are either looking for more cameras and better quality in the cameras, or like a phone that can actually be bigger and even be smaller. And it's just different ways to attract different customers.
Hello, I'm Tommy, and I am covering the shakeout stage. I'm here with my lovely assistant, Maggie. So, the shakeout stage usually refers to the consolidation of industry, and that means that some businesses are unable to compete with current competitors in the market due to them simply not being able to keep up with the current price changes and other trends that some products are innovating for themselves. Some companies are merged with other competitors or acquired by those who have a larger share of market in the industry as a sort of strategy to maintain their position into the industry. Now, during this stage, growth rates decrease and the firms begin to compete directly with one another for market share, kind of like going after like the last piece of the blueberry pie. Now, because of the nature of shakeout, weaker industries who can compete with the larger competitors are simply forced out of the industry due to lack of resources, poor case in customer popularity, or simply not meeting the needs of their customer base in the first place. Now, a wonderful example of this is Kmart, which used to be a very powerful convenience store option used around the late 1900s towards the earlier 2000s. But their customer base have slowly died off due to rising competitors such as Walmart, who are not only able to exceed them in sales, maintaining a stronger customer loyalty for a longer period of time. Hi, I'm Tommy again. With a face so nice you'll see it twice, here to cover the maturity stage. Now, the maturity stage, if I were to give an analogy for it, is kind of like the calm before the second storm. And going along with the roller coaster analogy, you're kind of like at the tip top, just waiting to descend down. So, let me go into more further details about the stage. The maturity stage mainly consists of a customer base, which is categorized as the late majority. Now, an example of this are like diehard fans for Apple, who've been in relationships with the company ever since like the pre-development phases, might have gone on to like the latest product. Now, the actions that are involved with this kind of stage is classified as competitive interdependence. Now, that means that the companies who are in possession of the largest shares in the market sort of cooperate with each other in order to deter any potential new threats into the market from entering by forming numerous high barriers. Now, one of the examples for a high barrier of entry is product proliferation. Now, product proliferation is the different kinds of variations a company is willing to emphasize in their product. Take Apple, for example. When the iPhone 5 came out, they've had iPhone 5C, which had various different kind of colors, which emphasizes more user customization, which was very appealing to people during the time. Another strategy is price limiting, which lowers the prices sold for their products to a level where competitors just can't match. Companies with large shares in the market use price lowering as a strategy to ward off new entrants into the market. Now, this can also be classified as a sort of communication system, because such companies can communicate with each other to lower their prices as well. It's sort of an underhanded tactic, because newer entrants into the industry can't simply compete with the price lowering, because those companies who lower their prices originally can afford such losses due to their substantial reserves and capital.
Hi everyone, my name's Tom. I'm here to talk about decline in the industry life cycle. So the people that you'll find in decline, they're considered laggards. So these are the people that fall behind when it comes to something in an industry. So these people will not end up getting a new product until it is absolutely necessary. So one of the best ways to look at this is someone in the cell phone industry. I think laggards can best be described in the cell phone industry by the fact that some people will go out and they'll buy a cell phone and they'll hold on to it for 6 or 7 years before they end up getting a new cell phone. So using this product until the last leg of its life is really where laggards come into play. They might go out and they might buy a product the first day it comes out, but they won't be like everyone else in the industry who will upgrade a new cell phone every 2 or 3 years. They'll hold on to it, and once it starts to really slow down or even stops working in total, that's when a laggard will go out and they'll finally buy a new product and possibly enter a new industry in it as well. So when an industry goes into decline itself, there are 4 main strategies that you can take to get out of it. The leadership strategy is when you're in a moderate decline, but you still have some unique strengths that are available to you. The niche one is there are pockets of the industry that are declining faster than the entire industry in itself. So some companies might be staying afloat while others are still slowly kind of weeding themselves out. You also have harvest, which is when you want to exit slowly, but you anticipate that a rapid decline is coming soon. So if there's some sort of trendy thing that's going on within an industry, you might have some companies that decided to focus on that, and those are the companies that will slowly start to fall out because that little trendy fact that they decided to stick with is what's going to end up weeding them out. Finally, you have the option to divest, which means you have no unique strengths and the market is underperforming. So using these 4 strategies, you can plug them into this chart here, where you find out what you can do depending on the rivalry within the industry still, and the amount of strengths that you have as a company inside of the industry. So if you have high rivalry and a few strengths, you should think about divesting. Well, if you have low rivalry with a few strengths, you can choose to either harvest or divest within the industry. And then if you have many strengths with high rivalry, you can either go into the niche strategy or divest. And finally, if you have low rivalry with many strengths, you can go into leadership or a niche strategy.
And that's the industry life cycle.
Da, 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 da.
Just like the video you saw in the beginning about the roller coaster, we're referring to the industry life cycle now.
The growth period calls for a lot of harvest, leadership, divest. That's how it works.
Hi everyone, my name's Tom. I'm here to talk about decline, also my life. Okay, and we're done now.